If you delve into the Trump fraud case that is going on right now in New York, the first thing that is going to hit you with is how incredibly unfair it is. It's almost Soviet style. You can't believe anything you're seeing. It goes without saying. It is beyond anything anybody has ever seen. And I'm going to try to explain this to you and focus you in on a few things about this incredible 6312 law and how, in particular, there is this absolute, I don't know what the word is, this presumption of innocence to the, presumption of guilt to the point we never even thought possible. And what's also important to recognize, and this is critical, what's really critical to understand is that there is something that is so monumentally un-American with a statute, or with a system where a target prosecution occurs. This is something which I can't put into words, I can't explain. It is so wrong. A prosecutor waits, sits back theoretically, and waits for someone to come to said prosecutor and say, this individual is alleged, or evidence exists, or there's probable cause that this individual hurt, harmed, defrauded, did a variety of things to a target, to a subject, to an organization. Then, based upon that, we come forward and we decide to investigate it. Not, I'm telling you, not for a prosecutor to start off with the idea that their sole function, their campaign promise, is to get someone. This is Soviet style. This is Beria. Remember Stalin's his Torquemada, so to speak, who said, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime." Do you see what's happening here? This is the most incredible thing. I'm trying my best to make sure you grasp this. We always use the term un-American. Things are un-American. What is un-American? And it's a term that, well, I'm afraid sometimes it's kind of lost its way, so to speak. What we're seeing right now is something so incredible. A prosecutor who says, I'm going to get him. It's one thing when you say, I'm going to get John Dillinger, or I'm going to get, Bonnie and Clyde, or so. Okay, fine. That's one thing. But this is another story. This confounds. This is like nothing I've ever seen before. And here's the best part. It's what everybody should be screaming about, including my beloved legal profession, who's not saying a word. Nobody is saying anything about this. You can't do this. I don't care if it's Manson, Trump, Jesus, anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter. This is one of those things where I can't believe what's happening. And I'm trying to get people that I know to care about this, to once and for all say, wait a minute, you can't do this. Look, I know people don't like Trump. I got it. I understand this. But what I'm seeing right now, and what is so incomprehensibly, immutably true, is that our system of justice is going out the window because people don't like him. Because people don't like Trump. Do you get what's happening with this? Because people don't like Trump. It's the most incredible thing in the world. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to explain a few things to you. Very, 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 very quickly and slowly and deliberately. And I'm going to do everything in my power to try to reduce this to something that at least makes some form of sense. We say sometimes things like the collapse is coming. We have these terms, the collapse is coming. And that may seem like, well, a little bit of an exaggeration. Is it really? Do you really think it is? I don't know. Do you really think that this could be something indicative of some form of, I don't know what the word is, some form of collapse indeed? I got to tell you something right now, and I want you to listen very, very carefully. I'm not gonna do this or ever say this just to ever get headliney or say things that I think that you are wanting to hear just for the sake of headline worthy. This statute is so unbelievably draconian. I cannot put into words what I am seeing here. I can't. It goes without anything. This is the most and I want you to do this, and I've told people this. I'm saying, well, I don't know if this is I don't know if people want to hear this or not. But this 6312 statute is so incredible, so monumentally without peer, because what it does is it says, even though no one is in no way making any complaint, making any claim of how do I say this? Any claim of fraudulent activity, the state on its own is pursuing this. I can't even and this has been going on for a while. This has been going on since Jack Javits. I've never heard a prosecutor never wants to have a case where how do I say this? A prosecutor never wants to have a case where there is a reluctant witness or victim, or somebody's not asking and demanding for justice. Who wants this? Now, a couple of things are going on here. This is important to note. A couple of things. First, and this is critical. What about the fact that there are people involved in this case? What about the fact that there are people who are involved in this case who are claiming an undervaluation? Is this judge out of his mind by saying that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million? Well, what he's doing is this: two things. He's saying, I never said that. I'm saying, in essence, that what am I saying this? He's saying, I'm saying that based upon one of the initial recommendations, one of the initial appraisals, I'm merely using that. I'm not saying that. And then this judge actually has the unmitigated gall to say, by the way, don't please, media, stop saying, can you believe this? Stop saying I said 18 million. I didn't say 18 million. They said it. He's going on asking trolls. Think about this. The trolling community. Hey, folks, it really upsets me when you say that I did this. What are you, nuts? Did you see the pictures yesterday of him laughing and smiling? Did you see what I saw? It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I didn't see this as even being remotely possible. This was a judge, an actual judge, sitting back and kind of sort of maybe just, I don't know what to do. So that's number one. Number two, please listen to me, ladies and gentlemen ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and please demand that those individuals who are on TV get it straight as far as there's issues as to the statutes of limitation. If you listened yesterday, you would have thought that somehow the judge blew up and was going to throw 80% of it away because of the statutes of limitation. That didn't happen. That did not happen. Honey, would you do me a big favor? Would you close my door here for me real quick? Thank you. That didn't happen. It did not happen. Yet everybody yesterday was going absolutely nuts, running on us saying, this is wonderful. This is great. I'm thinking, no, it didn't happen. They already did this. They already argued this point. They brought this up many times, repeatedly. But no, that's not what people were saying. And they're also getting it a little bit wrong, partly wrong as far as the valuation. Now, here is the thing. If you want to hear somebody talk about how unfair this is, that's fine. If you want to hear somebody say that the end is nigh, that's fine. If you want me to talk about just how everything is just, this is somehow symbolic of the end of civilization, okay, that's fine. I dig it. I understand that's what you're talking about. But I'm telling you, it's more complicated than that. This goes to the essence of our system. How does this occur? This statute, this draconian statute that came along that basically presumes everybody. This is the most incredible thing. Oh, and by the way, the good news is one of the latest examples is when the Supreme Court just refused to consider a request from I think it was an individual voter to remove Trump from the ballot because of insurrection. That's nonsense. That's utter nonsense. Supreme Court said, no, we've already been through that before. Because if that happens, it's unbelievably perilous for the rest of folks. Now, I'm going to say something to you, and I want you to understand what's happening. There are 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 12 different versions of this that we must understand. We can look at this now in terms of what it is. We can say, yes, this is wrong and this is terrible. But there's the political aspect of it. And his political trajectory go through the roof. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The political trajectory is through the roof. This man does not apply. This man does not follow words. He's in a parallel universe. He's in an inertial field that does not apply to us and mere mortals. I don't understand it. I'm almost saying, bring it on, bring more charges. He's going to be the nominee. And as he sits there, he's thinking, oh, that's great. My political trajectory is going through the roof. That's terrific. But if they are successful, imagine he cannot control his business. And you're going to have a receivership? You're going to have a law firm run this? What kind of country? This is Soviet style. This is 14th Amendment. This is the seizure of property. How has this never been? I know it's been done a few times. I know it's been done before. It's been on the books. I've got to tell you something. It does not even matter that we have folks who are involved in a specific allegation where banks or somebody come forward and say, hey, do you know what he just did? Do you know what he just did? I don't know. Trump just defrauded us. He said it was worth it. We lent him all this money, and it turns out it's not. There's problems with evaluation, though. When you say 100, 200, $500 million, do you mean is his property? Is it a club? Is it available for oceanfront? I don't want to get into the specifics of this. Do you know that even in the specific disclaimers, they said, don't take our word for it. Do you hear what I'm saying? They say, don't take our word for it. Don't think that we are necessarily, how do we say this? Don't think that this is accurate. Don't think that this is accurate. Don't think that this is that you should, be taking our advice on this one. What? It's the most incredible thing I've ever heard in my life. Don't think this. Don't go along with this. Don't, how do I say this? Don't in any way apply or make business decisions based on this. Please, your banks, you are individual security agency. You will have your own due diligence. You will provide your own assessment. That's the issue here. That's the part that blows everybody away. It's just, It's simply incredible. So what I want you to do and everybody to understand and to grasp very specifically is this, dear friends. While I appreciate everyone's concern, and by the way, remember, as we spoke this morning, Hunter Biden entered his plea of not guilty. As I am telling you this, I am someone who is thoroughly and absolutely disgusted by all of the fellow lawyers, the ACLU and everybody. This is a denial, an absolute fundamental denial of what is called minimum, perfunctory, at titular due process. I cannot believe what I am seeing. I cannot believe what I am seeing. I cannot believe that this is what's being allowed. I can't believe that we live in a world. I cannot believe where we live in a world, seriously, where this is even promoted. I can't believe that this is allowed. I cannot believe this. Vin, I thank you. You're a good man, Vin. Thank you so much. Look at Vin. That means a lot. That's your hard-earned money, and I appreciate it immensely. Seriously, Vin. Let me tell you a couple of things here. And I'm going to ask you to do something. And I want you to do this. And I want you to take this the wrong way. Vin, and I know you're going to do this. All right? Sometimes there are folks who believe that this legal stuff is hard to understand. That you have to be a lawyer to understand it. That you have to grasp. That you have to that it's beyond your realm, beyond your ken. You know what I mean? Okay, you got it? You got it? Okay. Because I'm telling you, it's not. Now, one of the things I want to tell you about, and there are some wonderful folks. Please forgive me because I want to teach you as well. I know that sounds highfalutin. I don't mean to ever sound like that, but I want to teach you stories. Okay, here we go. And one of the best sources for this, I'm telling you, I really, really, thoroughly enjoy. There are so many people that I think are terrific. One is Andrew McCarthy. This is a great article. You can start with this. And this is from a National Review. It's excellent. It is absolutely excellent. Let me take down this honorarium from honorific. Thank you so much. This is from Andrew McCarthy. It is terrific. There's another one too I want to throw at you. Another one too. This is a great column from a wonderful piece that he did as well from the Messenger Opinion. And it is terrific. I'm going to give you this link as well. By the way, did you sign up for the newsletter? Newsletter's coming up tonight. Coming up later today or whatever. Did you sign up for the newsletter? It's a beaut. It's a beaut. Let me make sure you get this one too. I'm giving you a lot of stuff here. Okay. I'm giving you a lot of stuff. Okay. So let me go back. There we go. Let me back up a little bit so you don't lose track of this. I have nothing but faith in your intelligence and wisdom. And I'm not saying that gratuitously. I'm not saying that just to be cute. I mean this. I mean it like you can't believe. I've always loved people who make me understand stuff that might be a little bit kind of hard. Well, that I would think would be hard, but it turns out it isn't hard. We say, you know what? That's pretty good. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? You got this? Okay. So I want you to be able to grasp this notion and to understand that what we're talking about here is something that you as a citizen have to grasp because you have the duty to follow the law. You see, You can't claim ignorance. You can say, listen, officer, I don't understand these speeding laws. I don't understand how you can charge me with merely accelerating. No, it doesn't work like that. You are compelled to understand what this means. So consequently, you have to understand what this is. This statute is so, again, from this wonderful, how do I say this? Our dear friend, Mr. McCarthy. It reads as follows. I'm going to read this wonderful thing to you. The law doesn't require a showing of harm. The state need not prove the defendant even intended to defraud anyone, much less actually defrauded anyone. It need not be established that any creditor or financial institution even relied on the defendant's misrepresentation, that those misrepresentations were material, or that anyone was actually fooled by them. The state has to show that a defendant made false claims with, quote, enough persistence and repetition, I'm doing the air quotes, that at least two persons were affected, which, whatever it means, is not a synonym for harmed. That's it. So not only, he also fines the Trump's judges $7,500. Now, I don't know who his lawyers are. I'm sure they're good. And I hate when lawyers start talking about whether other people are qualified or not. I'm going to say something to you, and I'm going to say this as fairly as possible. Whenever I see somebody who, and I'm just going to say this in general, looks like they're in it for their own personal fame, the Roy Cohns, lawyers who like to go on TV. Remember when Joe Tacopina got broadsided when he represented A-Rod? Remember that? Remember that one? When they was it Matt Lauer? Remember that one? This was one of those ones where A-Rod's lawyer, Matt Lauer, exchanged documents. Remember that? He said that Major League Baseball sent him a letter saying it was willing to waive. Okay, fine. You don't want to do this. Let me give you what my rule is. Number one, very simply this. I will do well in terms of publicity if I am successful, if I win. That's number one. Number two, I don't know what winning is sometimes. Winning is very tough. Is winning knocking 5 years off a sentence? You don't always win in court. You don't go in and you have the case dismissed. No, unfortunately, that's the way that is. But you have to line your everything up. You argue at first statutes of limitation. Apparently, an appellate court already ruled on that. That was done ahead of time, and then you do all of your pre-work, motions in limine, have your research ready to go. You know what to do. You know who the judge is. You're gonna remember. There's no jury in this. This is very matter of fact. It's almost pro forma. The judge said, "Look, I found there is fraud under this statute. So let's just get to damages or whatever it is." The most important rule is you do nothing to hurt the image of the judge, of the client rather. So you just be quiet. You see, Abby Lowell, he's representing everybody. You don't ever see him. James LaRosa, who represented Paul Castellano, you never saw him. You saw him in court, but you just never saw him. I hate to tell you, the the people at the upper echelons of all this, you don't see them. I mean, there are some lawyers handling billion international stuff. Some of these Johnson & Johnson claims, this is civil, of course, billions of dollars. You don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. And the first thing is you always want to make sure that whatever you do. So that's why I'm going to make sure in my team, I don't want to get anybody who's trying to be the hot lawyer or anybody who's trying to be the big gunslinger. I don't want anything to take attention off of me. You understand this? Trump's sword, vagueness doctrine, question mark. Great, great question. I believe you're talking about constitutional attacks based upon one of them would be upon vagueness. One of them would be vagueness and ambiguity. This is what I believe you're talking about, Trump's sword. And by the way, thank you. Hand flatulence for everybody as a sign of my faith. When a statute is so vague and ambiguous, and it is subjected to or susceptible to multiple interpretations, it must be eliminated. A statute has to be clear. A statute has to specifically inform you of what it is you're not supposed to do. Sometimes you can use words like careless. Like, what does careless mean? Well, there's case law doctrine that provides that. Maybe that applies. Is this statute, is it vague? I don't know. It's been around. I hate this. I hate this. Now, let me ask you this other question, too, which is the most important. Two things remind me. If I forget to do this, bring it up. If I forget to do this, bring it up, because sometimes I talk to you and I say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it because I get all worked up, because this is very passionate to me. And this is something which I love to explain. I love to bring my profession to you, because I'm telling you, it makes sense. And then sometimes it doesn't make sense. And I'm not a, what am I trying to say? I'm not a defender, one of these mindless folks. But let me explain this to you. First, the statute itself. Is it possible that this could be stricken later on? Could it be once and for all held to be unconstitutional? Of course it could. Of course it could. Is it likely? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't put my heart. You have to have a reason for it. Not that it's just mean. Joan says, thanks. Bless your heart, Joan. Thank you, Joan. Thank you. You are the best. Oh, thank you. That's my special way. Is it? Well, two things. And let me get to what you really want to know. Okay? This is something, and I'm going to be changing the name of this, because when I first saw this, I'm going to change this later on. We're going to change this title to how about the Soviet style persecution of Trump? Yeah, I think that's it. Soviet style is important. Remember the word Beria, B-E-R-E-A. Beria was the fellow who said, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Let me also show you something, and I want everybody to listen to you, even you too, sweet Joan. Listen to what I'm saying. You might very well, and I'm sorry to say this, you might very well find yourself in the position where if I wanted to go after you long enough, I will find you have violated some law. It might not be that great, but you violated a law. Another thing is, remember this, the more you do, the more crimes you commit. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. And please forgive me if I'm saying this, but what is a crime? Make sure someone keeps track of me of this very quickly. What is a crime? Define that. Is Trump charged with a crime? No. Is this a crime? No. Why is it not a crime? Class? Very simple reason. Why is this not a crime? I ask you. Simplest answer, you will hit yourself in the forehead when you realize how easy this is. Why is he not being charged with a crime? Why? This is very, very critical, very, very important. Why is that? Why do you think, pray tell, that is? Why would he not be charged with a crime? After all we're going through, why do you think he is not charged with a crime? And I will wait. Let me see let's see who gets this answer first. Let's see how many of you smart people get it. No victim? Nope. Not about him? Nope. Not 100%? Nope. You're getting there. You're getting there. I like this. I like this. Why is this not a crime? What he has committed, even if he's found to have committed it, it is not a crime. Why is it not a crime? Was no crime. That's correct, Jeffrey. But why was it not a crime? No law broken? Nope. If he's found to have violated this, there's a law there. Property? Nope. Mens rea? Edward Arruda. Criminal mind? Indirectly? No complaint? Nope. Nope. Who else? Very simply this. The reason why this is not a crime is that he does not risk jail or imprisonment. There is, look at this. Uncle Bob got that right. Correct. It is a civil trial. And what that means is there is no possibility of any trial, of any crime, of any imprisonment as a punishment. That is it. Period. If you can't go to jail, if you can't go to prison, it's not a crime, even though nobody's ever been to jail or prison. And what's the difference between jail and prison? Bob would know this. Jail is usually for misdemeanors up to a year. Prison is felonies more than a year. What makes something a misdemeanor versus a felony? Whatever the legislature says, whatever Congress says. Many states have, for example, you steal a fire extinguisher. That's a felony. If you steal something over $300, that's a felony. If you, in Florida, they have one, if you steal 10,000 pieces of fruit, throw one out, it's a misdemeanor. 28 grams used to be minimum mandatory. It used to be an ounce. It's an ounce for cocaine. 3-year minimum mandatory. You'd say you buy a street ounce, a short ounce, something under that, so you wouldn't look at the minimum mandatory. It's whatever they say. 0.08 BAC, 0.07 OK. Whatever they say. You want 55 versus 56 versus 65 versus 4. That's it. Period. That's the only thing. However, what Letitia James is doing, she is bootstrapping. She is using basically criminal charges as part of her fraud. So that's it. That's the first part. Now, let me ask this. What happens? What happens? What happens next? How do we promote this? What does Trump do? First of all, there has not been a gag order. Gag orders to me are the most unconstitutional things anybody's ever seen. And how they do this? And before we get to that, I have to say something which is also very, very important. Let me just stop for 1 second. And it's so great that you've been with us, and I appreciate this immensely. And I ask you, please, to like and subscribe. Those metrics mean more to us than anything because we want to spread the word. We want to spread the word. I also want to recruit new and great lawyers who follow the Constitution, who want to do this because it's still a noble profession and you can do some wonderful things in the law. So that's important. So you must like it. So critical. I also want you to understand that we are here and we have a wonderful sponsor. My Patriot Supply specifically provides something that they've not done. This is a 25% off special off of a 3-month emergency food kit. Right now, guess what we heard today? Wildfires from Canada. They're coming down, and we're seeing it here in New York City. We're seeing it. As we talk about Trump and as we do this, China's buying up farmland, property, Bill Gates. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going to be about the future of food and beef and chicken and poultry and meat. And I don't know anything. I don't know what's going to happen regarding crimes, regarding lockdowns, regarding martial law, regarding supply chain breakdowns, regarding contaminated fuel and strikes. I have no idea. Listen to what I'm saying. It's a very simple proposition. Listen to what I'm saying. When the stores close, there's no food. There's food, But if the store is closed, there's no food. If we can't get to the store, there's no food. Understand what I'm saying? If there's no food, listen to what I'm saying. If the stores, okay, close for whatever reason, there's no food. That's it. End of discussion. And you couldn't go a week right now without food. If you couldn't go a week. Oh, you could eat some crackers and stuff and some Pop-Tarts. But nobody is, you're not supposed to be ready to go for a week. A week. 2 weeks. This is 90 days, a 3-month emergency food kit. 25% off with preparewithlionel.com. Go and check it out and see for yourself. Join the throngs, the thousands of people who recognize what this is. In fact, go and look at the site. Look at what you can get. Preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. All right, dear friends, let me ask you a question. What does Trump do? How does he do this? First, as I told you, the judge said, hey, would you please stop saying that I value Mar-a-Lago $18 million? I didn't say that. They said that. Do you understand that? I didn't say that. They said that. The other people said that. I didn't say that. Okay, so stop doing that. I didn't say that. So please stop. This is like professional wrestling when the heel would come on and say, don't call, who was it? My great friend. I loved him more than you could imagine. Bobby the Brain Heenan. Remember when he said, don't call me Weasel. Don't call me Weasel. And what did he do? Weasel. So when the judge comes on and says, stop saying that I undervalued or that I think Mar-a-Lago is worth 18 million, it's the dumbest thing in the world. It's the dumbest thing in the world. You got that? Okay. Next. And I'm not saying to do this. Next. What does Trump do? It's the easiest thing in the world. You have to be able to do something that he has never done. And if you have any pull, I have tried everything. I have told so many people, close members of his team, family members, neighbors, get this message to him. He has to be able to open up on his desk, on his whatever it is, the chance to talk to you. He needs a fireside chat. Listen to what I'm saying. A fireside chat. FDR talked to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now this is not law. This is politics. He needs an open line of communication to you. He has got to be able to say this, and I'm going to say, Mr. President, I'm going to put there's a little picture of you right here. It's one of my favorite. This is a part of my museum pieces. This is also do you know this? This is a pen. You can see this pen right there. And it has I'm not going to play the recording, but I want you to put this little thing on your desk, and I want you to look at this, and I want you to imagine you're talking to a person. Don't broadcast. Talk to one person. And I want Trump every day to have either on YouTube, or I don't know, wherever it is, his own platform where he gets to talk to you. Because he speaks to you. How does he do it? Through Truth Social, rallies, and the like. I think, very frankly, that Truth Social, Twitter, is one of the worst ways to talk to people. Imagine if you were at the end of this, you tune in. First of all, he would break the bank in terms of people watching him. Imagine if the president said to you this: my dear friends, my fellow Americans, I am right now being charged under a statute. It's called Executive Law. It's 6512. Actually, it's 63. It's 62 and 6312, which says specifically this statute. I think our friend Mr. McCarthy might check this. But I wish he would say, I want you to understand that I'm being I'm being charged with a law right now under New York state law that was brought under Jacob Javits, the Javits Senator of New York, who was Attorney General, that doesn't even require a showing of harm. Letitia James doesn't have to prove that I intended to defraud anyone. So no one's harmed. I didn't intend to harm anybody, much less actually defraud someone. They don't have to show that any creditor, any bank, financial institution, anybody relied on the alleged misrepresentation. I don't know how to say this. Or that the misrepresentations were material or grave, or that anybody was fooled. All they have to do, and by the way, he makes it sound like it's just him, but all they have to do is show that I was persistent and repeated to at least two people. What kind of a system is this? Imagine if you were being charged with battery. Battery is the impermissible touching of another. Intentional. And you were at a Taylor Swift concert, and as you were going to your seat, you bumped into somebody. By the way, battery or assault in many jurisdictions do not require injury at all, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to know it. It's called scienter. You have to know that you can't bump into somebody you don't know it. Imagine later on you get charged. I didn't know what I did. There's no place in the law where this happens except for me. The banks. And then Trump has to stop and then say, let me say this again to you. Because I'm Donald Trump. And that's technically true, but not really. But he can say, because I'm Donald Trump. They could just sit back and say, whatever. Is there one person that can say to me, is there one person that can say, we loaned you money based upon the appraisal. You said this was worth this. And then when we went to recoup it, he paid all the debts. Nobody's complaining. Think about this. And you're watching this, and Trump is talking to you on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPod. It would be the most incredible. It would be, oh my God. I'm charged with 91 counts. 91 counts. Think about this. 4 indictments, 47, is it 40? I think it's 47, 47 federal, 44 state. I'm charged with 91 counts. You know who gets charged in 91 counts? No one. Sammy the Bull Gravano? No. We did some research about how many people are charged with this. We don't even know. John Gotti, one, two, three. Do you hear what I'm saying? And then what he does is he says this. He makes you say, do you see what they're doing to me? Do you see what they're doing? Do you recognize this? What country is this? All I want to do is run for office. That's all I want to do. That's all I'm interested in doing. It's all I wanted to do. All these people that you see now, I'm from New York. I'm from Queens. And I've given I have employed over the course of my business, let's just assume 3,000 employees. I don't know, whatever the number is. And by the way, interesting fact, which is true, his employees Love him. Love him. I know a guy who works at, this is true. I know a guy who works at a, he does like remodelings and all kinds of stuff, custom stuff. And he said that he treats, he's almost indifferent to big shots, but folks who do, he loves craft and woodworking. He loves cops. Did you hear how this one general said he doesn't like POWs? I can't believe what I'm hearing. And I can't reveal what I know about some of this stuff, but it is so wrong. You can't believe. Do you understand what's happening? Do you see what's happening with this? This is the most important. And I want people to understand something here. And I want people to understand. I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to me. This is very important here. It is critical. We have a fellow here who says, forget about the 90-minute counts. He has gotten away with hundreds of other felonies. Let me stop right there. Number one, I want to welcome this young man or person or whatever this is. We are a free speech provision. The only thing that I've ever asked in live chats is that we show courtesy and respect. That's all. That's all we do. Don't use terrible language. Don't be whatever it is. But let me ask you a question. And I think this is important because I think it's important. And I appreciate this fellow who is being a part of this. Mr. Bob, if you don't mind me asking, old Uncle Bob, would you tell me, please? He says, he writes here. He says, forget the 91 counts. He has gotten away with hundreds of other felonies. Mr. Bob, would you please do us a favor? Oops, sorry about that. And if you could, the floor is yours, sir. Would you please tell us what he has not, what he's gotten away with? Statute of limitations shields him. Well, not in this case. Do you know what the statute of limitations is about? Why we have the statute of limitations? What is the purpose of the statute of limitations? And this is important because I think this is very important. Now, even though, with all due respect, sir, you are profoundly wrong and nescient. And I promise you, if you said this, if you were in a room, if you were in a symposium, if you were in a law school class, or even with defense lawyers or prosecutors, and you said that, they would look at you and say, who is this? What? That's like people who say the Fifth Amendment protects the guilty. How many of you have heard this one? Heard that one? He took the Fifth because he's guilty. They think that the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, it's about protecting the guilty. And there's nothing you can tell. I mean, this is what lay people say. This is what lay people say. Well, what has he done? What has he done? And nobody will tell you. Well, he's committed felonies. Well, okay. Can you be specific? Well, he's just done some bad things. Well, unfortunately, we have this thing where unless you are either accused of something or caught, it kind of sort of doesn't mean. Have any of you imagine this? Okay? Listen to this. Look at this. I like this. Jen Madison says, I ate dinner at Trump Tower and DJ Tate was there and 10 feet away in 2017. He tipped out the busters by hand. Big cash. He's very, very good. Now, let me just tell you, we'll get to that in a moment. We'll talk about his personality and then his whatever it was. But let me give you this. Let me give you this one. Imagine you went to get you have your auto insurance and the rates go through the roof. And you say, what happened? You say, wow, Uncle Bob said you were speeding. What? Uncle Bob said you were speeding a bunch of times, but they never caught you. Or you were speeding so long ago that the statute of limitations has run out. You're going to raise my rates? I'm going to raise your rates. Why? Because you We're obvious. Wait a minute. Did you catch me? No. Isn't it odd that when we talk about the fact that we have this thing called due process, the Trump, and I'm going to say it with all due respect, the Trump hatred is so great that they actually, now think about this, the irony, to disprove the notion that there is due process, to prove this, they will say, well, he's done it before. So you know what? He may not be guilty now, or you can't prove it now, but he was guilty before. This is the argument against, think about this, against the notion of due process not being allowed. I am telling you, I don't care if it's Donald Trump, I don't care if it's Hunter Biden, I don't care whatever it is. We have these things called the rules. Period. And what they do is you see the opposite. And by the way, let me just explain something. I really appreciate something. I really appreciate the fact that people can speak their minds. And I want there to be a rebarbative. I want there to be an exciting give and take. But here is the thing. And this is most important. And this is to you, sir, and others. When you make an argument, rather than say you just hate Trump, or you love Trump, or you've got blinders, or you've drunk the Kool-Aid, or whatever it is, rather than say that, give me an example of something. Give me an example. For example, give me one. The Democrats are saying that there is no evidence whatsoever of Joe Biden doing anything wrong. Have you heard that one? There's no evidence. What you talking about? There's no evidence of any of this stuff. Joe Biden is one. Okay, fine. And there were some cases where you said if you want to impeach him, a lot of this stuff may have been done when he was a vice president and not a president. Does that apply? Great questions. Legal questions, constitutional questions, political questions. The answer in return is you've just got blinders. You just love Joe Biden. Joe Biden has committed more crimes. Now, I can't prove these, and I don't know when they were, and the statutes of limitations have already run, but I know that he's guilty of something. That doesn't work. I don't care if it's Joe Biden or anybody. You don't do that. You want specifics. You want specifics of this. And you understand something. You've got to understand that there is this thing that Donald Trump gets into the core, into the heart of people. Donald Trump does something to people's minds. He makes people crazy. He makes people lose their mind. I've never seen anything like it. Have you? Have you ever seen this? No. There is not one person today. And let me tell you something. The people who hate him the most, love him the most. Donald Trump makes people come alive. Donald Trump makes people, they would say, you know what? I have never cared about politics in my life. I mean, I thought I didn't like Bill Clinton, or I didn't like Reagan or Nixon, but I've never known hatred like this. I'm alive. Thank you, Donald Trump. I'm alive. You've made everything fun. Everything you've been through. You've made more money for more groups of people. I mean, you name it. Think of what they've done. YouTube and hits and commentary and networks. They love him. He's the most exciting thing in the world. And going back to what I said, he's got to tell people, what are you bringing me to? And then he leaves this charge. Alvin Bragg didn't want this case. The feds didn't want this case. Cy Hirsch, the private, nobody wants this piece of garbage until somebody said, wait a minute, we've got this. We've got this case here that where we can charge somebody with fraud, even though nobody's made it. What? Even though nobody's complained? Even though nobody's complained. Can we do that? We sure can. Really? Really? Let me ask you something. This is an important thing. And by the way, please, I want everybody to understand this. And please, whether it's herd mentality, and please, I beg our friend Bob, and thank you, Bob. Don't go away. Don't leave. Don't let anything I'm saying in any way dissuade you. Okay? But ask yourself this question. If I said somebody made a claim against you, you did such and such. Who is it? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. What? I'm not going to tell you. When did it happen? It doesn't matter when it happened. You did some stuff that we saw you do this. You burglarized. I mean, think about this. You burglarized a home, but nobody knew you were there. Nobody claimed. I don't understand this. You defrauded somebody, but nobody's complaining. Who defrauded? This guy. Can I give you a timeout? You're going to love this one. And where's our friend Bob? I hope you don't go away. Please stay with us, Bob. Don't go away. Please don't. I want be nice to Bob. He gives us heft. He gives us, he helps us laser focus our thing. And I think it's important. Remember years ago, there was a thing where it was called To Catch a Predator. Remember that one? Chris Hansen. It's Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator. And they would get somebody. He'd be chatting away. Remember that? And he thought he was talking to somebody. Remember that? He thought. By the way, I need likes. I need 400 likes, my friend. Hate to do this to you. But we need 400 likes. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, so these guys would come along, and lo and behold, this guy be chatting away. And he's talking, and he's writing these horrible things to somebody that he thinks is a 12-year-old or whatever. Turns out it's not. Somebody else. It's some cop. So he's chatting away, right? So Thomas writes, I got to pee, Lionel. Pause the show. Okay, buddy. We'll do that. Okay. So anyway, so he's typing away. He shows up at this house. There's no 12-year-old. It's the police. And he's arrested. Why is he arrested? He's arrested for thinking he was talking to a child. Now, let me go on the record and tell you, anybody who does this to a kid, anybody who lures a kid, anybody who engages, anybody who takes a sweet, beautiful, innocent, or not so innocent, but a child, and lures them into this mentality that somehow their body and their sex and their whatever is subject to commercial, negotiation should receive a fate worse than hell, as far as I'm concerned. However, this is a thought crime. He thought he was talking to a kid. And I've been in more arguments about this, more than you can imagine. Maybe with people like Bob and others. Good old Bob. Bob, thank you. Thank you for this. Because you help make us recognize why we're here. Anyway, so I said, what if somebody was walking down the street and they're blind? They're blind. And they think somebody's standing in front of them. But there's nobody there. And he pulls out the gun and says, give me your money. Give me your money. And you said, what? And a cop comes up and says, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. And they charge him with robbery. Robbery is larceny plus assault. Basically, threatening, attempted robbery. You're taking something while threatening someone. You have to rob a person. You burglarize a house. You don't rob a house. You rob a person. Can you imagine charging somebody with something because they thought they were talking? Can you imagine that? You thought you were doing this. You thought you were robbing somebody. You thought you were talking to a child. You thought this stuff. You thought these things. As opposed to going to a policewoman thinking she's a prostitute, making an offer for sex for money. That doesn't matter because the law says that you cannot make this offer for sex, theoretically in the old days, to anyone. If it's Mother Teresa, Golda Meir, it doesn't matter. You can't do it. So anyway, so let's go back to Trump. So Trump is now, there's no victim. Think about this. If Trump could sit at a table, look at the camera, and have it be not real long, he doesn't read a prompter, he just speaks from the heart, or maybe talk to somebody, I think people would say, this is the nuttiest thing in the world. So what I want you to do is this. Listen to me carefully. You ready for this? Because I want you to be an apostle of truth. I want you to go out there and I want you to go into the world. I want you to go out and I want you to talk to everybody today. Everybody that you know. Do we all know somebody who hates Trump? Yes. Do we all know people who love? Yes. Do we all know people? Yes, 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 yes. And I want you to ask them, what do you think about a statute that makes it a crime to defraud somebody, even though nobody's been defrauded? Stop right there. Now they're going to try to get out of it. Well, he probably did. No, 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 no. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about a law that makes it against the law to defraud somebody who says, I'm not? Okay. Can you imagine going into a pawn shop? You go to a pawn, you ever see Pawn Stars? You go to a pawn shop and you say, what do you got here? Well, I got this collateral here. What is it? It's my Dollar Tree ball. What's it worth to you? This? Wow, this is one of the few. This is a Series 3 ball. This is worth $30,000. $30,000? Yep. It's worth $30,000. Okay, I'll loan you 30,000. You come back and whatever. And then you can say, you know what? At the end of the, I'll tell you what, forget it. You just keep the collateral. I'll keep the 30,000. Now, is that fraud? It's probably fraud. And one of the first things we need is somebody to complain to go, hey, this guy came to me and he gave me this thing. It is. He pledged it as collateral. He said it was worth 30,000. Well, it's not. And blah, 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 blah. Okay. So in that particular case, think about it. What do you make out of this? It's hard to say. The thing is, the most important thing, the greatest aspect, the truth of all of this is very simply this. In this particular case, the pawn shop owner would make the complaint. This doesn't exist. Start with that one. Ask people today, what do you think about this? Trump's got to fight back, not using Truth Social. Trump cannot do this. This is the most, he's got to go high tech, harder than ever. He is going to be the Republican nominee. You know that, right? He's the Republican nominee. You understand that, right? Did we lose our friend Bob? Bob, where'd you go? Is Bob still here? Somebody get Bob. Come on back, Bob. Was there something I said? Come on. Where are you? Because I love people who make me think, who challenge me, who say, let me, say something, and you help hone my craft. It's like when you play tennis, the better the person you play against, the better you become. So anyway, he's going to be the nominee. Now, this is the most important thing in the world. I mean this. 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 This is the most exciting time in the world for us as American citizens to be. And if you're a political activist, you will know that we're not seeing anything like this in the real world. It is incredible. It is wonderful. It is without peer. We'll talk more about this tonight because remember, Trump is going to be the nominee. Bobby Kennedy is going to chip into Gavin Newsom. Remember, I've been telling you about Gavin Newsom since the beginning. And Trump is going to most probably, if all goes well, if nobody steals the election legally, Trump's the next president. Think about this. Trump is the next president. And it appears that this 14th Amendment attack doesn't make any sense. Now, one more thing, my friends. I told you this before, and I'm going to say it again. A great, 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 great American and businessman is our good friends from MyPillow.com. If you go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Lionel, you will avail yourself of some of the most incredible gifts that will help you luxuriate and enjoy your life like nothing. I'm talking pillows and blankets and things you just cannot imagine. MyPillow.com. Aside from the fact that the products are great, everything is wonderful, and these are great and terrific folks, I say to you, dear friends, they are, listen to me very carefully, they are getting hit by every. I mean, the Trump lawyers are being sanctioned. Have you heard about the 65 Project? This is going after lawyers who dare to suggest that the 2020 election was stolen. I mean, imagine that, making a legal claim. It's incredible. It's incredible. So say what you want. The products are terrific. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Hardest working American producers, great, great folks, and they need our help and your help. And don't forget our friends too at the wonderful preparewithlionel.com. 3-month emergency food supply kit, save 25%. Now, listen, my friends, listen to me carefully. First of all, I want to thank everyone. Joan, thank you for your kindness. Trump's Sword, thank you. And Vin, thank you immensely. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Listen to what's critical right now. It is important and critical that you understand that my job is simply to make sure that we understand all of the issues here, that we speak civilly and respectfully, and that we enjoy this wonderful thing called the First Amendment, and that we mix it up. Tune in tonight. More. Normally we do it at 8 o'clock. This morning I had a little business. We're going to be again at 7 p.m. per usual. Please subscribe to the channel. We have more stuff coming. Newsletter coming today. Make sure you sign up for that. It's important. It's critical that you do that. And let me see. Do I have that here? Let me see. No, I don't. Okay. So, in any event, thank you. Don't ever become dejected. Don't ever become upset. We are doing better than you could ever imagine. And what is going to be critical is that you have to go out into the world yourself and be an apostle for the truth. That's it. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. I've so enjoyed this today. Thank you. And go President Trump. Let him have it. We're behind you. All right, see you tonight at 7 p.m. But don't forget these final words, this valedictory, this adios, this sayonara, this valedictory. I said that, this denouement, so to speak. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.